So, imagine this. You're just sitting at your desk, right? Maybe sipping your morning coffee, minding your own business, when suddenly, ding, you get an update on your phone.
It's a coworker, and not just any coworker, but someone who started at the exact same time as you, with the exact same experience, and they just got promoted to a huge senior role.
Ouch, right? But wait, it gets worse. You open up another app and boom, a friend from college just posted a photo from the driver's seat of their brand new, insanely expensive car. All of a sudden, it feels like everyone your exact age is just blowing up and becoming wildly successful overnight, and these huge external accomplishments are just piling up all around you.
And what do? Well, you smile, of course. You double tap, hit the like button. Maybe type out a super cheerful, "Congratulations," with way too many exclamation points. But deep down inside, if we're being completely brutally honest here, something feels incredibly uncomfortable. It's this heavy, sinking, almost sickening sensation right in the pit of your stomach.
And a tiny little voice in your head whispers, "Why not me?" Now, most of us feel so guilty about this. We immediately think, "Ugh, I'm being selfish," or "I'm so jealous," or we just feel like we're fundamentally broken somehow. We treat this feeling like a terrible character flaw that we absolutely have to hide from the world. But what if these feelings aren't flaws at all? What if, actually, they're ancient survival instincts that have been running in the background of your brain for hundreds of thousands of years? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly why humans are naturally so competitive, and why your ancient brain just relentlessly compares you to everyone around you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The Tribal Survival Program. To really get why we feel this way, we literally have to travel back in time and investigate the evolutionary crime scene of our own behavior.
Picture this. You wake up 100,000 years ago. In this world, there are no corporate ladders. No salaries, no schools, no startups, and definitely no social media feeds to mindlessly scroll through. There is literally only one overriding objective from the second you open your eyes to the moment you go to sleep: survival.
And we're talking about an era of absolute scarcity. Food is incredibly limited. Shelter? Limited. Safe places to sleep where a predator won't eat you in the middle of the night? Super limited. Every single resource matters. I mean, think about it. If your small tribe catches one animal, everyone gets to eat. If they don't, everyone starves. Because of this harsh reality, the strongest hunters and the smartest problem solvers naturally earn the respect necessary to survive. Competition back then wasn't about, winning some plastic trophy or updating your fancy job title. It was literal life or death. The ones who competed effectively simply had way better chances of securing resources, surviving long enough, and passing on their genes. So over thousands and thousands of generations, the human brain became deeply, permanently hardwired to constantly monitor exactly where it stood compared to the rest of the pack.
Which brings us to this fascinating discovery. Section 2, the Great Evolutionary Mismatch. Have you ever stopped to wonder why you rarely compare yourself to total strangers? Like, if some billionaire on the other side of the planet buys a mega yacht, you probably don't care at all. But if your immediate coworker gets a slightly better office, man, that stings. Why is that?
Well, here's the massive plot twist. Our mental hardware was built to track our social standing among just a few dozen locals. Your ancient brain evolved inside small tribes, comparing itself to maybe, 50 individuals that it saw every single day? It simply was not built to process today's modern world, where suddenly it's comparing itself to millions of highly curated, perfectly filtered, picture-perfect profiles online. Because of that intense tribal environment, your ancient brain is constantly running this background program, quietly processing 4 crucial questions all day long. Am I respected? Am I valuable? Do I belong? And am I falling behind? These comparisons used to help our ancestors figure out their vital place within the group. Thousands of years ago, if the answer to "am I falling behind" was yes, it meant you might literally be cast out of the tribe. And being cast out meant certain death out there in the wilderness. The crazy thing? Today, that exact same neural system is still running on loop inside your head.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that in ancient times, status had absolutely nothing to do with luxury. Status was a literal survival tool. It provided security, trust, cooperation, and protection during the really tough times. People with higher status just received more support, period. So your brain learned a very powerful lesson early on. Improving your position within the tribe meant directly improving your chances of staying alive when things got rough.
But look at the stark contrast we face right now. Ancient status meant physical security. Modern status, well, that looks like follower counts, fancy job titles, expensive cars, designer clothes, you name it. But here's the kicker. Your brain reacts to modern status in the exact same way it reacted to ancient status.
Every modern success gives your neurological reward system a massive dopamine-fueled boost. And every single modern setback, it literally feels like a physical, life-threatening danger to your ancient programming. Not because your life is actually in danger, but because your survival system still treats social standing as the ultimate do-or-die metric of safety.
And this massive mismatch thrusts us right into Section 3, the modern comparison trap. Today, sure, competition can absolutely still inspire growth. It pushes us to create, to learn, to get better at things. But the dark side? It is completely exhausting. Why? Because modern competition never, ever ends. There is always someone richer, always someone smarter, always someone younger and more successful than you.
So the crucial point here is that because modern competition is completely relentless, and because social media force feeds us this non-stop diet of carefully edited highlight reels, it completely overloads our nervous system. Your brain looks at these heavily edited highlights, treats them like actual reality, and genuinely begins believing that everyone else is winning while you and only you are uniquely falling behind. And this directly leads to 3 massive modern epidemics: severe stress, crippling anxiety, and total burnout. You feel this way not because you're actually failing at life, but simply because your ancient comparison system is completely overwhelmed. It was designed for a small tribe, right? Not for an endless, infinite scroll.
Okay, so how do we actually fix this? Let's move to Section 4, Rewiring the Instinct, and see how this all builds up. Look, the reality is we can't just reach into our own skulls and delete this ancient mental software. We are wired to compete. That's a fact. But the really good news? We absolutely have the power to change its target. So we have to ask ourselves this heavy, really vital question: how do we compete without destroying ourselves? The solution definitely isn't to just give up and stop competing entirely. Competition itself isn't the bad guy here, and honestly, your brain deeply enjoys making progress. The actual problem is who you're choosing to compete against. Instead of competing with total strangers online, or, the coworker getting promoted down the hall, we need to shift to new internal metrics. Start asking yourself things like, did I learn something today? Did I improve just a little bit? Did I become healthier, kinder, or maybe a bit more disciplined? By competing with yesterday's version of yourself, you are still feeding your brain's natural, ancient desire for progress. But because the competition is entirely internal, your growth becomes sustainable and incredibly rewarding, rather than just being a source of constant crushing stress.
When you finally understand the ancient machinery operating inside your own head, you can truly master your modern life. You realize you no longer need to defeat everyone around you just to feel secure. The next time you feel that hot flash of jealousy when a friend buys a new car, just remember, your brain isn't trying to make you miserable. It really isn't. It's just running an ancient survival program that once kept your ancestors safe from lions. But today's world is different. You literally only need to become a slightly better version of yourself than you were yesterday.
Which leaves us with this final, powerful thought to take away from this explainer. The greatest competition you'll ever face isn't against the world. It's against the habits, fears, and limits inside your own mind. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the hidden psychology behind our everyday behavior. Take a moment to really reflect on this today and realize that you have the power to direct your ancient instincts toward a much more peaceful, focused tomorrow. So as you close this app and go about your day, who are you choosing to compete with today?